It is YFP who takes that win 13-7 on Vine. Welcome back, everybody, to VALORANT Challengers North America. And it was a map of Vine that showed us exactly what we wanted to see from these new players of YFP, from Jake and Will, the new additions that were performing, doing exactly what was needed from them, and everything, especially on that first half, looked very, very dominant for YFP, Roy.
I'm not gonna lie, they kind of caught me by surprise. Like, obviously, we all know that YFP has insane players, right? Like, some of them have been, you know, Will's been on 100 Thieves. A lot of these players have been signed to organizations like Luminosity, Pioneers, right? Like, we were kind of talking about that. But it's kind of easy to forget that they have this potential in them, right? It's just about finding the right team environment, finding the right dynamic. And it seems like the addition of Will and the addition of Jake has sort of reinvigorated them, and now they're playing at such an awesome level with so much confidence, and they look like they're flowing like a well-established team.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. I mean, Will just seems to be this perennial underrated player. You know, he kind of got left out of the 100 Thieves roster going into franchising, despite having gone with them to an international event, right? So he's got a lot of experience on him as a duelist, but it's so great to see him come back and continue to have impact with a brand new team, right? And not only that, but doing it in a different role on a different agent, right? We've never seen Will play Gecko like this, as far as I know. Like, this is incredible stuff from him. So he's coming in and supporting these other guys. You know, you touched on it as well. You know, these guys, they might not be household names, but all of them have played on a tier 1 level in their era. Penny coming from that version 1 roster that went to international events, both Thief and Physics from those Luminosity and Pioneers rosters back in the day. So this is a team with a lot of individuals who have a ton of experience, and it seems like all that experience is meshing well. They have all the right pieces in all the right places, and they're flowing well off of each other, and it's really great to see in the server.
We also got the answer of that question that Roy specifically had on who was going to play the duelist, how are the roles going to set up. Yeah. We continue to see Penny on this race, and we also saw an attempt there of a duo with Sim, where Sim was playing this race a little bit different, right? Trying to have the operator, trying to have impact with the operator. As we know, this player, if we remember, on the regular season was getting the most kills with the operator. It was just a style that he's trying to make fit into this agent, and for the side of TSM, it did not work this time around, Roy. YFP, though, they were just, they seem very free when it came down to playing around the map and setting up Penny for success, going with those flashes. Even from that round 1, we started to see those ideas that the teams wanted to bring.
Yeah, I mean, can we just quickly talk about the fact that Physique is just like the most low-key MVP of the map completely? Like, no one expected him to be the MVP of the map. I didn't even realize he had 20 kills until right now, to be honest. He was just silently popping off. It felt like every highlight reel was just Will, it was Penny, right? But like, you see Physique, the IGL of the squad as well. I mean, also keep in mind that this IGL role is kind of new to Physique. Like, he hasn't really been doing it his whole career. It's kind of like a last year thing. He's still developing on it, and the fact that he's paying so little IGL tax, popping off in the IGL role on a brand new team against TSM is crazy.
Yeah. Leave it to Roy to gas up the Sky player, right? You're right though, man. You're right. I mean, it's great to see a high fragging IGL leading his team from the front, right? And that's what you're getting with Physic. I mean, he's new to this role, like you said. He's learning how to IGL. He's played with a lot of top teams in the past, but never as the captain, the leader, so to speak. So it's awesome to see him settle into this and lead this group of like star-studded players to success on this map. But like I said earlier, this is a map that we haven't really seen TSM play. So it's highly possible this is just an unpracticed map, and maybe going into this second map, we're going to see a different side from TSM.
And that's what we want to see, right? We want to keep this and push us all the way to the map 30, but it is going to depend a lot on TSM. And actually, I do want to ask you a question, Tycho. When we talk about these IGLs performing and being able to have that performance, there are some IGLs nowadays that are saying that not performing is kind of an excuse, and there are some that are saying that, yeah, obviously it does take a lot. You're thinking about what the team is doing, you're thinking about what you want to do, how everything is going to connect and work out together. Do you think this is something that is kind of the evolving meta of Valorant, where we're going to see more IGLs performing, more controllers performing, as we talked about earlier on?
I think we're definitely seeing some more higher fragging IGLs, but I also think it's a stylistic thing, right? It depends on how the team is built. You see teams like Fnatic at the top level winning with Boaster. I think somebody posted a funny stat about the Boaster percentage.
Boaster.
Yeah,
Yes.
and how many maps that you win when you have less than 10 frags,
kills.
right? And that's an incredible statistic for Boaster. I mean, it just goes to show like how much energy, how much vibes, how much strategic depth and good mid-round calling that he actually brings to that squad, right? And so I think it could really go either way. But when you have someone like Physique who's popping off and getting these kills as IGLs, it really takes a lot of weight off of your teammates' backs. And it means you don't have to have your alpha hairs or your other major stars to carry you through. You just need a good group of 5 players who are all going to play their roles and play them extremely well.
Absolutely. It's not about just having your duelist do the flashy play, the going for the first kill every time, but it's just how the team works around and how even the trades are set up to make sure that the IGL is also able to get some kills as well. So that's what we got to see on Vine for the set of YFP. Now on the second map is going to be a map of Lotus picked by TSM. But what's interesting here is that, I mean, they're going to be starting on the defense, and even if it's your pick, your defense, Roy, it has to be great.
Wait, we're actually in sync. You're in my head right now. Hold on. I was going to talk about that. I had concerns about that because, like, okay, you just took a pretty harsh first map loss, right? Now you're going into the second map, which obviously is your pick, but you're starting on defense of Lotus. Defense Lotus is not an easy half, guys. We've talked about this. It is a difficult half. So, like, if YFP runs away with this attack first half, man, the pressure is going to be on TSM pretty hard.
Yeah, they surely have their work cut out for him here. I mean, this is backs against the wall, starting the race 5 seconds late. They have tough hill to climb right here, right? But it's not something they can't do. I mean, we saw in the match earlier on Ascent with the other teams that, sometimes a map like Ascent is extremely defense sided. You can get these matches where the attack sides can just go off, and we have 2 IGLs who have the potential to do that and really take the map in their hands and dictate the pace on the T side. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that is a question here. How much can you do on the defense? It's kind of the double-edged sword. When you get to pick the map, you think Lotus is your better map, you want to go with it, but then the enemy team is gonna almost every single time want to play on the attacking side first. And like as we're saying, we've seen scenarios where things turn around, where you have a strong defense, you win that first pistol, you start to build some momentum around it, but it's really not easy to do on a map like this one. Now, on the agent select, just like we saw on that first map where we saw a couple of changes coming through, we see the Gecko, we're seeing these modern compositions, it might be the same idea for this one. And it is, once again, it's all up to TSM. It isn't TSM's hands to see if they're going to keep playing this mid-season or they're gonna get eliminated, Roy.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like for kind of just going back to the composition thing on Lotus, I would not be surprised to see very similar roles transferring from Bind into Lotus for both teams. I'm probably just like the minus guy plus the Killjoy. So I'm kind of whoa, okay. I take it all back. They pulled it out, guys. The Gecko breach.
There it is.
I love that. I love that.
Just for you,
I can finally
Roy.
geek out.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It is the Gecko breach on the other side. You're gonna have a fade on the side of TSM, a little bit more of that standard comp cycle.
Yeah, very standard from TSM. Seems like they're leaning into what they know and what they know of other teams, and it'll be interesting to see because YFP, going with this breach Gecko comp. How often have TSM seen this in scrims, right? How much practice have they gotten against this? So if they're used to playing the default and playing against the default, it's a chance for YFP here to really throw them on the back foot.
And it is this breach Gecko that also Vincili was very excited about. So I want to see what the casters think as we send it to this map number 2, Islam and Kiwi and Vance.
Yeah, Vance, how excited are you?
I'm super excited. I'm actually very excited. When you're actually looking at Roy's side, it's like, I'm going to predict there's going to be a Gecko in a breach, and he finally got it. Did you hear how happy he was?
Yay, I'm so excited that we're going to get a breach and a Gecko. Yay.
Yay. But I think where you have to focus is also on the other side, though, for TSM. Because TSM, the amount of times that they played this map and then they've been playing with the Sky as well in the hands of Poise. Not Poise, in the hands of Seven. They're always focusing on more of like, we don't really care about the meta of the Sky being nerfed, and we're just going to keep using her because it works out quite well. Now you're starting to finally realize here by watching a lot of Lotus games and partnership and challengers that we've switched out into a Fade. They're finally adapting it, but they adapted into a YFP. This for them should have been a mirror match, technically, if you're looking at an old YFP roster on this very map. But now they have to play against Will as a Breach and Physic as a Gecko. This is going to be very difficult to play against, because this is one of the great things to have a Breach on your comp, especially on the attack. The amount of stall that you could have to counter on the aggression that the attack or the defender side will try to do with a Fade in a raise, that gets fully canceled out.
Ooh, with the camera. I'd have peeked how close TSM are, and I guess not, because Sim's still connected on 2. And what a scrap. We're left with, well, nobody. What a pistol. TSM. All right, making this a quick night.
Yeah, and then the beauty of having the Breach and the Gecko, you could also do the same type of double flashes, right? Where especially aggressive teams that play with the Breach at the beginning, instead of being reactionary, they also flash very early just by that wall by the tree, so it blinds towards Baby Door. So that allows for you to get more space out towards Rubble. That's not something that YFP did. They threw a camera, it got shot instantly, so Thief never was able to pull that out to get information on how many players are walking down, and it got insta-owned. So a great start for TSM to finally win a pistol in their end on their map pick.
I got the one-way Gecko flash. Proto forced back. YFP taking orb on Sands, and TSM will just pull back a few members from A to help support C, just in case YFP want to hit this hard, because, well, these teams have been, I mean, based on what they showed us on Bind, were very fast, very aggressive. And I mean, look how the pistols went. And YFP are still dancing around, making noise at C, but Spike has been taken elsewhere.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be that case, and it almost looked like Will and Penny were just going to wait for the second refresh of the Dizzy to still a fake towards the C site. But I guess they're just going to try to use it right now. But there's a C's getting ready to be thrown from Seven's end as soon as there's contact coming through. It's a C's Molly on top of that.
Okay, well, SMG's better guns out of TSM, and 7 cleans up 2. And while getting messed up, couldn't get the third. I don't blame him. YFP getting hits or throwing out of paranoia, but TSM, they're so stoic through all this util being thrown in their face. It's almost a flawless round for them.
Yeah, I actually liked it that when I called towards that C's, it was actually prepped up in the beginning from 7, but they decided to keep his Guardian out. And that keeping that Guardian out and breaking that Dizzy instantly from Physic was actually a great piece of utility that was broken to allow the rest of TSM to just anchor strongly the way that he did, following behind the snake bite. Everybody's running through vulnerable, so these are easy tabs coming out from 7 on top of that for those 2 first kills. So a bonus round that they don't have to spend too much in for TSM. Aggression coming out from YFP again. There's those flashes that we're talking about, and it allows here for your Raze to also satchel quite out in the open and getting that leverage to fight behind like the walls if he could see towards the back of the staircase or something and do some early punishes. But instead, TSM are just playing the stall, waiting it out, pulling up the Viper wall, and now both teams are information starved. So what piece of util is coming through now? 7 could probably start prowling out, or they're just going to wait for the door to open up until they can react somewhere else.
And you could see that Proto was already on his way to support the A site. YFP opening the door, focusing some split pushes, teleport across. Jake wants to pressure stairs, and Physics says, screw that. Let's go all the way to B. Wingman's on the job. And TSM playing catch up at this moment, and Sim pushing through there is interesting. When you YFP weren't fully committed to B, TSM losing Sim in that moment is tough. Now having to retake 4v5, Thief gets blinded. TSM have taken back control of the site, but still need to defuse. And it's YFP with the numbers, and they're quite distant from the site. It's Physic that has to prevent this. Just gonna try and spray through the smoke, but YFP are forced to engage. And it's up to 7 in a 1v2. Picks up a better gun, taps the spike, forces Steve to pay attention, and time is running out.
Time's running out. The round's going to run for YFP. Still, it's going to be very expensive. The buy may not be the best for YFP in the next round, but it may look like YFP were not really committed towards the B side. They were. They went for the Gecko plant, and then they fought towards the extremity. And the reason why I said it was so good is that two players are still fighting towards the staircase, which allowed Jake, after this kill, to go up towards the heaven side and go for an initial flank towards the back. But in the end, TSM understood where the extremities were, where the fights were coming from. They won their individual 1v1s and kept that expensive here for YFP. And as we mentioned before, this is a much broken buy. I mean, you see a Stinger here for Will. They still have Vandals, but they have small shields. So the advantage in terms of the economy and weapons is still for TSM. Util is there. Unless Physic, he gets this orb, which will allow the Thrash to be enabled, and they could actually start clearing out the C site with it.
Thrash from Physic into C. Turret at a crossfire from Poise, but maybe deciding to disengage and play for retake just based on the amount of util being dumped into the site there by YFP. And they cleared out the site. Wingman's on the plant. See this breach from Will, ready to set up to push into Waterfall, so Poised in trouble, and they get flashed up. TSM do escape. All of this is good time for YFP. Prowler shut down, but you know Will is close, having to dodge. Oh my god, the wave of bullets and the paint shells. TSM picking them apart at angles. Thrash number 2 for Physic, and YFP just barely hanging on, now losing control of the space, and with the neural theft, 7 is just quicker, and TSM will pick up a 3rd round.
That is so nice, and you're seeing again the advantages of YFP's composition versus TSM's composition, right? So with this breach, you saw the aggressive flashes, the double flashes, and you're gaining space. The stun also could potentially punish some players trying to rotate out and run away from that util that's being thrown. One almost got caught there. But then the beauty of TSM for the retake, the close range prowlers, not spotting anybody close on or spotting one close on the left side, and then not seeing anybody else inside the site. You know that YFP's given away that space. Paranoia is huge. They just the push and pull that you have allows YFP to have one, being aggressive and great stall with the aftershock. TSM with their comp allows for you to micro scale back into these retake plays and making sure that you're playing close with the Fade util. Ooh. So great job for TSM on defense so far.
Dizzy points out that there's 2 people holding close stands, and TSM still get first blood after opening the door. YFP, well, they're here now. They might as well get something done with it. Still not able to even up those numbers if you're YFP, but now at a crossfire, it's one and done. They just go into the smoke, and 7 will not be pushed around. Clean round out of TSM.
Yeah, not pushed around, surviving at 1 HP on top of that. And it's a clean anti-eco that TSM just played. Not afraid to fight against the util coming out here from YFP. And look at that, 3 players out there fighting towards the mound. It allows for you to open a door on top of that and fight towards B main, making sure that you could get rid of lurk plays towards that side, because you waste or you use a lot of your resources to cover mound, leaving B side a little bit more open. So you're finding info at the same time. Very, very nicely done. In that type of play, I would respect it in this anti-eco. Against a gun round, I don't think I'd open the door. But TSM understood the situation, and YFP, maybe the coach seems to understand the situation a little bit more, because we're calling an early timeout on their end.
Just need to reset things, because holy cow, I think there was some panic when YFP were like, well, screw it, let's just run through the smoke and get something done. And then they all got wiped. So thinking, how do you reorganize going into the further rounds? Because YFP had, yes, the dominant start, but this is TSM's map pick now. And this has been their turf, and they really are running it.
Yeah. I mean, Gogi's call right now is how they want to explode is, it seems to be working out, but it's just these pulse plants that TSM are finding a nice little groove on these retakes. And it worked out well when they fought, you know, on this B site plant and play towards those extremities, and maybe that might be the call, because it's so hard for you to funnel back from spawn and from top bottom when you also lost control of door. So off this timeout, YFP are looking to split early towards the A site, at least by throwing util on that end, making them think that they're going to hit towards the A site, and they're just going to death ball inside B.
Ooh, the breach util, YFP jumping in, 7.
How?
In his little nook. It's just will not let this go by easy. Now the crossfire set up. TSM ready for sure. And Penny jumped in to be bait, and they got nothing out of that.
Again, a cosmetic from the fault line. Fully stunned, 4 bullets out of 7. Or whoever was playing inside that site. Pop, 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 pop. Gets the kill. That's crazy. All 4 bullets hit. And denies the showstopper on the B side hit. Now, YFP, they have to readjust, and they're working into the KJ util.
Wingman is on his way, but the nightfall from TSM is thrown out. The retake ensues. YFP respecting that space, but they're all tethered and they're revealed, and they're just going to hold these corners. TSM can tap the spike and force the hand out of YFP. Jake will have eyes on it. And now it's a scrap. It's TSM may just try to get this halfway. A proto coming from B is huge, and YFP just get cornered. What a nightfall retake out of 7, and the friends of TSM will get the defuse and go up to 5.
Yeah, especially on top of that, the Rolling Thunder that came out didn't really affect too many players. They hit some, but some players avoided it, which allowed for them to get some nice little hits and nice little kills towards the end. So where it looked like everything was going so well for YFP on that first map, you could definitely say the same thing for TSM this time around their defensive side. As both Psycho and Roy mentioned here, defender side of Lotus is so difficult for TSM, and they start on their side on their map pick, and out of 7 rounds already converted into 5 and potentially even 6 right now because YFP is on a stinger slash thrifty buy. This is so good coming out here from TSM, and it seems as though when I thought Penny was the one that activated the showstopper inside B, it was actually Sim on the defensive side. Now you finally see this this showstopper out on the B site.
And there's no one to enjoy it with, though. I don't think TSM would enjoy it, but Wingman enjoys his job, paid hourly to plant the spike, and YFP thinking for 5v5 on the post plant. You're just watching this B link side, TSM pushing all through one door could be tricky. Sim will lead the way with the pink shell, so it just lands right at the toes of Jake, and this is a lot. YFP defending as best as they can. This is their space, and bring around the Rosie on the door. Physic is better with the SMG, and it's 7 in a 1v3, all flashed up, but no one to punish him for it.
You have got to be kidding me.
Now we'll tap the spike. Yeah, it's over. How many kills could he get? And it's still a thrifty round for YFP. Wow.
Yeah, remember I said I was the best in terms of predicting that? That was not the case this time around. Somehow, like I said, you're giving away a lot of space on a B site, especially with the showstoppers coming through, which is totally understandable. But what is the key point right now of the composition that you currently have here for the attack side for the pulse plant? Pain shells to delay, fault line, aftershock. Thrash was also at the ready if they need it at that point. So you have to be able to pinch back on the way that TSM was fighting back towards that site. GMD is all alone to paranoia towards the revolving door. And you need more bodies with that to fight back against that outside plant play. But now YFP are pivoting towards the A site. It's fully open. And TSM went for the Hail Mary of gambling a push on the C site. Now they have to play a full retake once again towards A.
But they are about to break through Baby Doors, so depending on timing, TSM come through there. Thief could catch the cross, but behind him is Sim. Easy picks. Now TSM could freely come through B if they wanted to, but they've all decided to pivot towards the top. Prowler will lead the way. They're clear through A main. YFP are all stacked on the site, and Shri, and that's a win for Jake. Still has to deal with people opening this door. He'll give himself a route of exit, especially with TSM knocking at these doors. Everyone going 1-for-1 is benefiting YFP. And, well, that box is not big enough to cover how big Breach is.
His right side.
1v1. Jake.
Oh, it's not half.
71 HP. 7 is going to leave it. Can't get out.
Perfect read, too, though. Through the horn on the left side, look towards the right, knows that his opponent was coming and swing on that right side, but got off the defuse just a little before the halfway mark and already there. that is going to be the round coming in from YFP. And this, I love this round from Sim. You're so far out here on the A site on the post plant that you didn't hear the satchel over the trip, which allowed here that flank to happen in the end. But unfortunately, it came down to heroic plays by YFP that turned out in their favor with how they played around the site and got their ones and their twos even before falling down. So YFP doing a great job answering back so far since this time out. Oh, not this time.
Penny's been shut down on a lot of these satchel jump-ins. It was tough. YFP not able to follow up with it either, but it may just be able to cross. Did Sim hear that? I think he did. Showstopper right where the sun don't shine. YFP keep getting cut, but Thief with the neural theft. How close are they? TSM to the left. Jake taking an alternate angle. YFP hoping for the crunch. Jake waits for the perfect timing. They're swinging on him. Jake needs help, and YFP didn't follow up off the setup play.
Seven's looking at ult potentially. Okay, finally, it's the Haunt instead, or sorry, the Prowler instead. That's gonna get information, and Thief somehow gets the 2 kills.
Somehow this is being salvaged out of YFP. Oh, no plant? Okay. Very quiet. Now it's mind games. As well, we'll get the cross. Gets Poise if he doesn't check it, and Thief is to the left. Poise gets caged off.
Planted.
Could be in a 1v1 depending on how he approaches that cage, but now that it's gone, at least a Proto and Poise can work together. Oh, that's tough! Get tossed up by the breach, you tell, but TSM just counter better.
You are thanking Poison and Proto that they were able to win that 2v2 in the end, because when things were looking so good for TSM, winning their individual 1v1s, also denying Penny that control on top of Rubble, yet Thief was still able to make it a 2v2 off. Unfortunately, not a good double timing swing to try to get the perfect trade there onto Tree. But TSM are able to salvage that round. Gives them a chance here to continue a lead by 3 in this first half, and also keeping the economy low for YFP. So YFP are reverting back to what will be a saving grace for them potentially in round number 12, is to just add the pressure on both extremities, making sure they can lay control towards C-Mound and get this orb for Penny so he can get a showstopper in round number 12.
Thief is getting nothing on these cameras. Very quiet, though.
When it gets broken right away, it's a perfect call for them to know that there's some sort of aggression out on that side, right? So they pull back from that as well. And again, they grab that orb for Penny. He's 1 away from the ult. And as they understand the aggression coming out from C, they know they know C side's weak.
And Thief was on flank watch, and now he's gone too. So YFP have to watch their back. At least we know TSM are going to take the quicker route through B and through Waterfall. YFP are still getting set up too. Smokes replaced. Boombot will reveal that Sim is close.
Oh,
the lockdown ensues. Showstopper from Penny. Oh my god! With 3, YFP have brought this to a 2v1 with Penny very low against 7 and the Nightfall in the 1v1, but couldn't bring out his gun in time. What a reaction out of Penny!
Hit by the Nightfall at 1 HP because of that as well, and the big gajonas coming out of him, the swing into the Nightfall, catching 7, caught with util in his hands to get that pick. How did that convert into a round in the end for YFP? How did Penny get the first kill to allow the showstopper to happen? And as he flipped through, nobody looked towards the air. They didn't realize where Penny was. A satchel up in the air with the showstopper, and manages to get 2 more kills and a 4K in the round. That should not have been a round going into YFP, because TSM had all the bodies there to play against the lower buy of YFP.
Oh, jeez.
That's crazy. That's crazy that just happened.
This has been an insane series already. I mean,
I've been casting this whole night with my mouth open. Like,
I hope so.
But you know what I mean. Like, I'm flabbergasted by the amount of plays that people are able to come out of on top for these teams.
Oh, TSM are cooking on this defense. A Proto gets flashed. Panic shooting. Physic is still blinded. A Proto got a snake bite on him. We'll flush him out from the corner. And a Proto has great supportive fire from Poise and friends. I'm surprised TSM got out mostly scot-free.
Same thing for YFP. Oh, Physic was almost caught dead to rights at that point. But I love the call. Tempo out towards the A side right after, knowing that there was so much aggression in the fourth position up towards C. But they're playing against Sim.
Oh.
Beautiful kill and denies the plant.
No plants.
Exactly.
And a 4v3. Neural theft
30 seconds left.
from Thief. TSM.
One enemy.
No
remaining.
hiding from them, and Thief just hunts down every single target. And poised.
Spike planted.
Smoke is cleared. Trip removed. Just saw him jump into tree, but you don't know where the second and third persons are, but you assume they're all together. Poise, how many bodies can they take with them? With the lineup and the high-low. Thief with 4. YFP are within 1.
Dude, Thief's
Last round
feeling
before
it
the
around the
switch.
A side so far. That's like what, a 2K they get towards tree, a 3K, now a 4K into this round. This is so good looking at YFP on how they're able to bounce back here since that timeout, only losing one of those rounds since that timeout. Greatly done. They have a great chance to also tie it up 6-6 as now TSM's bank is finally broken on their end. The tides have turned. They're hitting all of their shots for YFP's end on top of that, especially when TSM had great position after the first initial kills. And when the hat came out and they get kills like that, that's crazy. Guardian Sheriff to try to answer back against the Odin spray. Showstopper 2, this might work.
Oh, Will gets out! Oh, almost leapfrogged above it. But no, Will is down. Another great showstopper from Sim. At least YFP were able to recover the spike. And they're making their way through C. Poise makes the call, has SMG up close. A Proto still there to help out. But YFP opened the door. Trying to see if they can go through B and fake it. See if Poise would swing around. And now Sim is randomly got a shot through the wall, or just someone
Just a
at
kill
the other
towards
side of
B
B.
main. Yeah,
what
so
the heck?
that will force her back towards the C site.
Poised. Oh, they know he's there in that corner, and TSM want to crunch from both sides. And the cage made it so Sim couldn't make contact.
They're going back into GMD, who's on top of rubble. If
30
GMD doesn't
seconds
move,
left.
this is a free round for TSM. You need trigger discipline at this point, too. You don't want to one-way smoke it either.
Meanwhile, Jake at least goes 1 for 1, and GMD spots the 1 and the second. You have the crystal ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect play at that point. Even if they lost a player from TSM over on that C side, they still have bodies, right? They could still trade. They could still stall. And in a game at this level of Valorant, you can't rotate too early, because there's always going to be these last second pumps. Everybody's starting to, in these moments, especially when you're playing a 3-site map, to Na'Vi it pretty much, right? And the call of Na'Vi is running it down to the last 10 seconds around that map. You can rotate very quickly with the revolving doors as well to get last second plants and turn around over back on your end. So this is just great experience. They talked about it on the desk. You have a roster that has a lot of experience by playing together and by being around Valorant for the longest time, ever since its inception. So in the end, TSM are able to get 7 rounds on defense, which is a great start now for the second half.
Now having a Cypher on defense can be so flexible, can leave his util and camera at C and help support B, and wow. Some info. Got heard a lot of shots at A lobby. YFP have the setup and multiple angles, and oh my god, tossing them up with Will's util and following up. See how YFP are running after them. Yeah, there was some fire back out of TSM to take care of Physic, but TSM got really injured off of that.
Yeah, 2 players fully injured, but thankfully they have power numbers still. And because you're playing against a composition that doesn't have too much stall, there's no Viper, there's no KJ, so you won't die to or get more chip damage done towards you. So you're in a great spot here for the post plant.
Oh, Sim spotted someone waterfall, but TSM's planner in trouble, and TSM is hoping to play it nice and cool, force the hand out of YFP. They're around the corner, but as a team, YFP push together and can't get the trades in their favor now. 1v3, at least injured players, but They're set up for trades, and TSM will try to keep the lead.
So as YFP won both of their pistols on the first map, TSM won both pistols on their map pick here of Lotus. So a great start. Again, they had great numbers to get into the site when everybody was so focused on trying to help out Thief on that A side that it allowed TSM to get into great positions here on the post plant. So now you're looking at this buy, you're playing a distance on your end, Vandal and Guardian for both Seven and Sim, who are really top fragging the charts in the server so far. And they're just gonna wait towards spawn at the beginning just to see if there's gonna be any shenanigans coming on that side here of YFP with some sort of like, it definitely looks like a fault line play off of contact onto B main. But it's smart here for TSM to not walk into that trap and to play it using great util, the free util that you have to haunt towards that C side and notice that there's nobody there to be able to get that orb.
And the Proto has already started making headway towards A, so now trying to be as quick as possible, breaking the door, putting pressure onto any B site members if there were any. TSM cut noise, having to wait out this smoke. YFP pull back towards B. We'll check that out. So the window of opportunity is there for TSM. Trying to attack a weakened site. Jake spots it though. Paint shells will put him in a dire spot, especially while he's blinded. TSM need to punish this. Could make great space and make progress off the plant and even shut down the flankers from YFP that came through B. TSM, through such a stressful, impactful situation, still will get this done and the plant.
Yeah, you just heard the Gecko say, "I'm out of the server," after he got backstabbed there by boys who took a leisurely stroll around C Mountain to B to get the backstab there into spawn. But yeah, at that point, I felt that there was a sense of urgency coming out here from TSM to get good map control. Because look at the amount of util that came inside that site. Double flash on top of that too, and players are getting kills while they're gooped. That you can't ask for any better luck here for TSM on how they just really won all of those fights inside that A site battle. So power of weapons and power of the luck on their side. Oh, the haunt miss. Okay, man, it's for a close mound. It doesn't see behind mound, but it's still gonna get checked.
What's Jake doing? He's crouching over there,
Yeah,
practicing his squats.
it's got one ways or a paranoid ready off the camera. It's a sorry, not a one way, but just a regular smoke off the top of camera, and also has paranoia in case he's gonna get pressured. And here it is.
Oh, but the info. Oh, what? The showstopper got shut down. Wait, this defense is cooking, and TSM are on fire. Oh my God, they walked into the firing squad.
Again, how to get away with it? Face to face against a showstopper. Thief just behind the pillar on the C side, and Sim, all he needs to do is left click it. Take yourself away if you needed to on top of that, and just make sure that you open up the site, because everybody's counting on you behind here for TSM to create that space, get that kill, so you could only focus on one anchored player inside that site. But instead, it's a paranoia, a beautiful TP from Jake on top of the boxes to get those kills and get a flawless on top of that. When there was a showstopper open from TSM, that's amazing.
Recalling my
I can't believe it. Interesting look at a YFP to push B main. Kind of shake up poise. We'll be watching that cross. Meanwhile, TSM have already prowlered into A. And Thief is playing up close and personal too. But reinforcements are already at the top site, especially Will. But as Thief drops, the rest of the team weren't ready to engage yet. So a bit of a desync out of YFP. Will still makes up with it with a double kill. But the spike has been planted for tree, and that's a tough spot for YFP. Try to get around.
Jake doesn't have a smoke anymore also to try to get the defuse on their end. So they have to fight towards tree.
Ooh. One piece of util gone. Can try the flash, Jake. Coming around the backside and lines up two. All up to GMD. And Jake clutches up for YFP, but does he have time to defuse?
It definitely looks like it. Oh my God.
Okay.
The big bean is back. Never retired, chat. Never retired. also showing a lot of confidence, just like he did on Bind. But that, especially with Thief dropping down the way that he did, I was going to mention that camera was still up, which is going to be a great piece of util for them to get information towards that front of the site when they're ready to flood retake. So he gets caught, and that was a huge mistake. But then somehow Jake opens the door and lines up 2 kills and wins the 1v1 against GMD, man. That is what, 2 rounds that YFP just got away with murder pretty much at this point. And that breaks the econ for TSM, and we're back, baby. This is a close game on Lotus, but reminder that YFP still has 1 map under their belt in this series, and this is single elim. So the pressure coming through is not being felt by TSM with such a great opener.
Oh, jumping right into the fault line there. Oh, that's fine. TSM will be planting.
Spike planted.
And we'll just try to sync up. And look how YFP are sandwiching from both sides. There's the flash from Physic. And the nightfall from 7. And this is going to cause a lot of chaos.
There's a big... Oh,
7. Wow. Never mind. Yeah. Thought he had that too. Ooh. Now we're left in the 3v2. TSM denied the defuse for now. Neural theft. They know exactly where they are. GMD playing his life. Jake still comes out on top. We'll tap the spike, but the snake bite. Oh, he can't take the damage. Big clutch out of a proto.
They clutch out of a lower buy for TSM too, and I felt at some moment that Jake was on that backstab flank, and it was going to take that person outside of main, but he already fell. And at that point, I thought it was YFP that has full control to flood back towards the site take. But a miracle happened once again, this time on the side of TSM. A proto landing some crucial kills at the beginning, which allowed for the rest of them to just trade it out. So that becomes, at the end of the day, one of those fights that you just win into your favorite to win the round. Not macro-wise, all micro decisions being done here that was won by TSM towards the end. Now they have an opportunity to take control of Showstopper, 4 of them leaning towards that side with only the one-way smoker of Jake.
And a potential for TSM to send this into a deciding map very soon. There's the door being opened from YFP. They were trying to pinch TSM, thinking they were more committed into sand, but either way, YFP wanted to brawl.
That's nice. And it's a re-hit on top of that too. So I love here that Sim was the one that tapped onto that orb so he could satchel away. So he baited a lot of that util coming out. But the good thing here for YFP is that they only used a free util pretty much. The fault line's going to come out. They still have all the flashes available from both Will and Physic. So they're still in a great position to play the retake.
Cypher trips to deal with first. TSM have to worry about Baby Door too, with Penny about to come out of that. Timing could be everything, and Sim is everything! Now the Showstopper. No one in their way, because TSM are just killing everything. Or Sim could get to it. To check this corner. And YFP are coming through stairs. Jake and Physic. 2 big leaders on this team to try and turn around a 2v4. Oh, Physic. Just going for exit frags, I guess. They don't seem too antsy to get anything done. So yeah, TSM will go up to 11, and I'm getting map 3 vibes.
I don't know if this was a call from Poised for Sim to not activate the Showstopper to enter the site, but for them to just walk up towards the staircase and catch 2 off guard with how Thief moved forward, Will was getting ready to use util, that was chef's kiss in terms of a move. Because they understood here that A side was very weak for YFP because there was just so much util after the door opened on that orb tap on that C side that there was probably not going to be any type of util that's being thrown on them playing contact on the top of that A site. So after getting those 2 kills, now you activate the Showstopper just to clear out the site, clear out the space, and not give a chance for a YFP to even set up to try to catch TSM off guard while they're planning, because that Showstopper is now activated as the rest of the teams have already entered the site for TSM. So I love that call that was being pulled out here by Poised off like the mid-round reads that they initiated at the beginning with that game plan. Again, initially the game plan was to get an orb in the hands of Sim, and instead it became a off the cuff call, pivot back towards the A site, grab that orb on that end, and you saw the rest unravel. So this is the last time out now being called by YFP. Similar story as the last time. The driver's seat this time is being driven by TSM, and it's a bus, like you said, heading towards the third map.
It's very clinical out of TSM on their offensive half too. Seeing to close things out. And just when we thought YFP were dominating and they led with such confidence, it was on their map pick, and TSM just having a better response right now, 2 away. YFP, this is quite the gap to close, and like you said, no more mistakes and a broken bye out of YFP, but at least a Rolling Thunder available for Will. But not wanting that quick of a brawl yet if you're YFP. TSM taking their time towards A, not wanting the C orb this time like they usually start off their rounds.
Yeah, and it's understanding like an early fault line that came through and then nobody else really following up with it. Is just for them to make noise and then just gamble somewhere else, because this is a lower buy from YFP. So again, the call from TSM, walk contact, try to play that one. You're catching one off guard, but Penny actually is ready for that, but there's that trade. So a good buddy system, at least for TSM.
Yeah, tons of smokes being thrown. TSM already starting the plant. Physic can't do much, but he will be ready to flash and play off contact. There's the Rolling Thunder for Will. TSM pushed back. Let's try to remain on the other side of the wall. You think TSM are all in tree. There's Poised on a cross. There's a Proto on the other side of boxes. They can swing and play off the contact, and what a pick from Poised. Helping out the numbers for TSM.
30 seconds
Close out
left.
this map soon. YFP having to fight back from the brink. Physic gets traded out. Spike being tapped.
No.
Checking out the smoke. The timing favors TSM. They're one round away from taking Lotus.
This whole time, I'm like, TSM, you could open the door. You could actually hit the baby door. You could pivot out. You could force to rotate away. Because YFP did such a good job in terms of throwing their first mosh. That delays the first plant. Then they Rolling Thunder. That delays the second plant. Then they went for an aftershock. That delayed the third plant. So everybody's ready for YFP to just fight inside that site. And I know in these moments, especially looking at bind, when you're trying to just stay put, it usually doesn't turn out into your favor. So you wanted to, I thought they were going to play it safe and try to like rotate back towards the B side or something, or at least hold the defenders away. But thankfully, it was not the case. They won the round, and now they're 5 points away, 5 chances away of pushing this to a third map.
Sim jumping in, wanting to be involved. Now he gets pinged out. You gotta watch out for Waterfall. Thief going to play off contact there. Worked out. Sim took some damage. All pitted up for TSM. And the spike planted. Things are looking good, but YFP have already started their infiltration. Jake leads with 18 HP. Showstopper from the back. TSM shredded, but try to pick themselves back up, and they do. They take Lotus.
And Lotus won by TSM with some hero plays. I mean, look how locked in Poison is. He wants to win this so badly, he doesn't need any more light around his face than the monitor in itself. And he locked in to get those last few round kills, multi-kills that turned out in the favor of TSM. But yeah, they definitely looked really, really good at this point in terms of how they controlled that map on the defender side, and their retake protocols were so good, which allowed for them to have such a comfortable lead. I mean, great retake protocols on top of winning 2 pistols is a recipe for success. And now we're going to see a third map.
Oh, what an exciting day. It's the mid-season cup and everything is on the line. It's single a limb, and you're seeing just teams that were relegated come from those ashes and rise up. Teams that were on the brink and made these roster changes really stand up, and teams like TSM who got beaten down in map 1 come back in the biggest of ways. We're going to map 3. We're going to Sunset. The night will end soon, but first we'll check in with the desk. We'll see you after the break.
fix.